Welcome to Where There's a Wills.
There's a play.
I'm Ian, your Make Complexity Casual Gamer.
I'm Stacey. I'm your non-gamer gamer.
We are here today to give you our initial impressions on Wreck Raiders from Kids Table Board Gaming, brought to us by Tim W.K. Brown and Josh Capel, with graphics by Josh Capel. Plays 1 to 5 players in 45 minutes. And this is a review copy that was sent to us by KTBG. If you follow the channel, you know how big of fans we are of KTBG, and they were gracious enough to send us this game as a review copy. So let's get into the impressions. First look at components and artwork. So I'm going to start with the rulebook here real quick. As always with every KTBG rulebook, it is very well laid out. Starts with a very nice components page. Everything is nicely laid out there. A setup with letters that tell you where everything is. The setup is A, B, C, D, E, F, and then down on the bottom, it labels those out so you don't have to try and hunt. Some rule books, you're like, wait, what is that? So you don't have to go back and forth. It tells you where things are. Then one thing I really like about KTBG's rule books is when it gets into the gameplay section, it first just gives you a very quick synopsis of your turn order. So there are 4 steps on your turn. It tells you what those 4 steps are so that you know those are the 4 steps. And then it goes into more information about each one of those steps and what each one of those steps takes place, what happens during those steps. It also has really nice examples. So like here where it says moving to a wreck, it has a very nice example of what that is with wording that says what the player is doing. It has those throughout, so it goes through all 4 steps. And then down here with claiming an exhibit, it tells you all the steps you can do for that. And then it goes into details for each one of those steps. And it gives you examples of each one of those steps and talks about what it is. Like it says exactly what's going on. Then it goes into the aquarium and the seashell powers and then the game end. And then a very nice final scoring page with good examples. Once again, over here with like the pictures and everything of the examples, which is always nice. Good solo mode page. And then just a quick at a glance to remind you what your turn order is. That is the rule book. On to some components.
Yeah.
Some other components.
So the components are, I like these components. I think they are very well made. You've got the meeples. You've got, what, 6 different colors?
5.
5 different colors, since there's up to 5 players. That makes sense. So you got your 5 players. You've got your crabs, which are going to be your point markers at the end of the game.
Kind of fading out a little bit because this one's kind of blue
That's
on the
all
green
right.
screen. So there's different colors.
Different colors. You've got your seashells on your beach that are going to basically kind of be your money for this game.
Yeah, kind of your resources, your money.
Yeah, so you're gonna buy stuff with those.
Use them for abilities and different things.
Yep.
So
You've got your aquarium pieces. You're going to have your, oops, yeah, I guess you just went down.
I just went down the table.
Your aquarium pieces, your bottom, your middle, and your tops. Then we'll explain what the purpose of those is. But those all have really cute artwork on them. You can
see, we'll show you some of these.
Yeah,
here.
those are just absolutely adorable.
Yeah.
Don't move that light there just a little. It's kind of glary. Or move those down. There you go.
Trying to keep them on the screen.
Yeah. The artwork on this is absolutely adorable. We'll cover that in a minute. We've got your standard dice.
Yeah.
1 through 6. You've got a certain power that can change the 6, but we'll discuss that later. And then we've got the main board, which has your beach that you can move to and collect different things. Your 4 wrecks that you're going to be raiding, hence the name Wreck Raiders. Yep. You've got your gold, your gems, your antiquities,
your relics,
and your relics.
And art.
So, there you go.
Relics and art. Yeah.
And those are all numbered 1 through 6 on around each one of those. And then you've got, oops, those are in the wrong spot. And then you've got your dual piece cardboard.
Yeah, dual purpose tiles.
And we'll discuss why they're dual purpose.
So you see on one side of them, they've got these, they've got the symbol of what they are, and then on the other side, there's some different things that you might be finding. You see, there's all sorts of different things in each one of those. So yes, those are dual purpose.
Those are dual purpose, and then we've got our
exhibits.
Our exhibits, which are what I call my purpose cards of what I'm trying to do, trying to collect. what that's going to cost me, and what I'm going to earn for collecting those cards. So we've got those down here. We've got the reef board. That's where we're going to put our dice after we roll them. And then we've got
where do we roll them?
Oh, we'll discuss that. Okay. I'm saving that surprise for last.
Okay.
Each player gets a board. It's very good quality.
These are all the same thickness. These
yes.
The aquarium tiles, the wreck. What do they call them? They call them the treasure tiles, the shell tiles, the player boards, the reef board. All of these are the exact same thickness, so really, really good quality.
Really good. But you're asking me, but Stacey, where do you roll your dice? Well, I'm glad you asked. Take the box top, which is absolutely adorable to start with.
Oh, that art, that cover
it's so
is
cute.
Awesome.
Oh
that
my
cover
gosh.
is just
it's
awesome.
so cute. The octopus reaching around. Anyway,
we're talking about art right now,
so flip the box over, and you're gonna roll your dice into the board, and
we'll talk about in a little bit what
the purpose of that is
in a little bit.
But that's a dual purpose inside as well. So it's also got some seashells on the inside, and it's also got your scoreboard around the end, or around the outside of the track for your end of scoring.
Yep.
I think I covered it all.
I think that is all of the
components
and artwork and stuff.
It's pretty easy setup for as much stuff as there is. But for the artwork, I really think this is drawn very well. Josh Capel is one of my favorite. He designs, and he also does the artistry.
There's Stacey's favorite.
The otter. I had to have that. But he's actually one of my favorite artists for board games. Just does such a good job with making them look realistic, but also cartoony, but doesn't get the too crossed. So they don't look too cartoony where they don't look realistic. But yet, if you see this animal in the ocean, you're still going to absolutely recognize
just some
what it is.
Some of the middles here of some of the different ones. Ooh, that's a little bit of a delay. It's got a little bit of a delay there. Oh, there we go. There we go. Nope, there we go.
The seal. We saw a seal when we were in Hawaii.
We saw several of these while we were in Hawaii. That's I'm wearing my Hawaii shirt, for this thing. And then a couple of the bottoms, just to show you. The bottoms have more things in them.
Yep.
So, yeah. So, yes. Gorgeous well components. Done. Very beautiful components. Yeah.
Yeah. He's probably one of my favorite artists for games. So, yeah.
All right. Moving on to setup and gameplay. Well, the game is set up for us here. We have it set up. We've played it a couple times this weekend. Basically, what you do is each player gets a player board, 6 of their meeples, and their little crab marker for the end of the game. For the main part of the shared part here, you place your board out. You place all of the seashells down here by the beach, and they said just throw them down there because that's how you'd find them. You place your aquarium tiles in piles here with the bottoms, the middles, and the tops, and you put 3 out, and you put all of your treasure tokens. I don't think I could do that if I tried. I just hit it and I slid it right onto the next pile without knocking over the piles. You put all your treasure tokens here face down, put your reef board here, you put your lid there, and you then you have your dice. And then you have your exhibit tile or cards, and you deal out 1 more than the number of players there are. That's the setup. Pretty quick, pretty easy setup. So that's going to be really good for us. Easy setup for this game. To play the game, you have, and I'm going to get the rule book open here just to make sure I don't miss anything. So on your turn, you take the dice.
There's one.
You roll it in here.
Oh, mine was way better.
And then what you do is you, depending on where they land, you place them on the reef board. So like this one is on the conch shell. This one is on the scallop. This one is touching the sea star or the starfish. And these ones weren't touching anything, so they go there. Then you're going to move a diver. You're going to choose one of the dice, and you're going to choose your diver to move where you want to go. Now, I'm seeing what's out here, and I'm seeing that 2 of these start with a gold. So I'm going to find a gold here. These give me some shells. Shells are very strong in this game. So I'm going to take the 4, I'm going to move it, I'm going to put it onto the 4. That's your turn. You go back and forth until all the dice are done, and then you so on your turn. So that's the first part of my turn. Then if I have claimed enough of these. So these, like we said, are dual purpose. One purpose is when you claim them. So on this, I would claim it. I could put it face down on my board here into my exhibit. And once I claim a complete thing, I could fulfill this exhibit. So on my turn, I could claim an exhibit. When I claim the exhibit, I put, oops, so I got one of these. I could put this on there. This allows me, this shell, this scallop shell, allows me to get one of any of these. So I could start working towards another one. If I had one of these shells, I could put it on here. That's worth 2 extra points at the end of the game. If I have perfectly laid out this pattern. So that's the other thing. You don't have to perfectly lay out the pattern. If I've perfectly laid out this pattern like I did here in my example, I get this bonus, which is a aquarium tile. Aquariums are points at the end of the game. So that is moving my, taking a die, moving a diver, and then I can go to the wreck. I could go to the beach and just collect these shells. If so then I can claim I can claim one or more exhibits. Then I can take an aquarium piece. So if I had more shells, you can buy these. So if you notice here on the side, this says I need 1 star and 1 conch uh, in order to buy this aquarium piece. I want to make sure that that is a conch so that I'm not just selling. Yes, I thought so. Okay, so once again, on my turn, I take a die, I move my diver. I can either go to the beach and just claim shells. Maybe I want to build an aquarium and there's nothing really I need here. Or I can go to a wreck and I can get gold and I can get a treasure. Now, we said these are dual purpose. The other purpose for these, let me put these ones back real quick. The other purpose for these is part of your scoring. And over here, so these are your exhibits. What do they call that? That's not your, is that your exhibits? That is your display. So here's your displays. Here's a seashell reminder of what the seashells can do. Here's your basket. So when you get seashells, you put them in your basket. This is your vault. So the other thing you can do is if I take this, let's say I don't need a gold, I can put it here. Over here, you're going to put these face up. And you want to get the same color possible in a single row. We'll talk about that later during scoring. And you want to get as many different, this is where the different things come in handy. You want to get as many different treasures as possible over here. And we'll talk about that during scoring as to why. So, once again, to run down your turns, you take a dice, you move your diver either to the beach and collect seashells or to a wreck site and collect a treasure. You claim one or more exhibits if you can, and you decorate them if you have the shells to do so, and then you can buy an aquarium piece. Then it's the next person's turn. Now, during the game, you're going to eventually end up with, start placing some of those out there. You're going to eventually start placing, you're going to end up with divers all over the place. All you do is you take one of your divers and move it somewhere else. Now, if I were to move one of my divers and it goes next to another diver, they also get a reward in the wreck sites because we're all diving it. So if I were to take this diver and I were to place it on this 6 down here, I would get one of these for this diver. But this diver, even though it's mine, also gets one. And then Stacy's diver would also get one. So kind of planning out where you want to go to maximize that really helps. The other thing that happens with divers is if I were to move a diver and move it here, this one gets bumped. It gets bumped up to here. So if I rolled a 6 and moved it here, The diver that was here get bumped up here. I now get the treasure. I get this treasure. This guy gets treasure, and this guy now gets the shells. Okay, so if you move to a spot next to somebody else in the wreck sites only, if I move up here, Stacey's doesn't get the shells. Only in the wreck sites because you're all diving that wreck site and you're all looking for that treasure. So if you move next to someone, it's got some really nice positive player interaction in that way is, you know what? I know you're going to get something, but I really need this, and I'm okay with you getting something at this point because I know I need something as well. And being able to kind of bump your people around when you bump them, when you move them, whatever number you rolled, that's the number you have to go to. And then when you bump them, they have to go up there. So if I bumped off of this 4, he would have to go up to that 4. But I would get this gold and I would get those shells. So it's got some nice mechanics there. It's got some bumping on it, which is really fun to do. And if I bump Stacey off of something, he goes with shells, she gets the shells. Okay. So just a review of your turn. Take a dice. Move your diver either onto the beach and collect shells or into a wreck site and collect treasures where you may end up collecting multiple treasures. You may end up allowing your opponents to collect treasures. You claim a exhibit if you can and decorate it if you are able to, and then you buy 1 aquarium if you are able to or if you want to. That is your turn. When the dice all get used, so Stacey would take a dice, I would take a dice, Stacey would take one, I would take one. The dice are all used. So on Stacey's turn, she's going to take the dice and she's going to get to roll them and she's going to get first choice. So, oh, 4 scallops? Wow.
That's the most we've ever had.
We've never had that many on one thing.
No, nothing.
Okay. And we would do the same thing. She would take a dice, move one of her meeples.
And whichever dice you take off of the reef board, you also get that shell.
Yep. If it's in one of the shell ones, you get a shell, and you have to move it to that number on the board. Yep. That is the gameplay. It's a pretty smooth, straightforward gameplay as far as like what you're doing. So yeah. Moving on to the scoring. So scoring in this game, there are 3 different things that you score. The first thing is your exhibits. Exhibits simply have points on them. This one's worth 10 points. If I had one of the conchas on it, that's worth an extra 2 points. So the exhibits are very clearly just points, and then if you have conch, you get some more points. Then you have vaults. So this is where your vaults come into play. So let's see if I can get this on the screen here. So in your vault, you score 1 point for every unique treasure. Not different color, but unique treasures. So as we showed, there are multiple different treasures of the same color. So every unique treasure, so this is 2 unique treasures. Oh, and I failed to mention in the gameplay real quick, when you're filling your vault, you have to go from the bottom up. When you're filling the displays, you have to go from the left to the right. So you can't just randomly place them. The other way you score in here is, if you see this, it says 3 if these are all equal. So that is where the colors come in. So you want to try and get 3 of the same color here. And that would give me 3 points for this row. Plus I have 2 unique treasures. So that's 2 more points. That would give me 5 points. Every row is worth more points. Now, you do not have to. Maybe you want to rush this to get up to some higher points. And you want to get a lot of different treasures. You could do whatever you want here, just as long as you're filling from the bottom up. You don't even have to have a full row before you start filling above other ones. So I could fill all the way up here. I could fill all the way up on these. It doesn't matter.
Okay. You just have to have something below it.
Yep, you just have to have something below it. You have to build from the bottom up. So once again, the 2 ways that the vault scores is 1 point for every unique treasure, and for every row that is the same type of treasure or color, that is either 3, 4, 5, or 6 points depending on what row it is. So that is the scoring of your exhibits and your vault. The final scoring is your aquariums. So let's get an aquarium over here. So during the game, you are going to get aquariums. Let's make sure this gets on the screen.
Oh, the turtle. It's a little green.
Oh, Oh yeah, the
You can still see him.
You got a better one here. How about the
octopus.
Octopus a little bit better. Okay, so let's take a look at this. So each the bottoms and the middles, and you can make your aquarium as tall as you want. The bottoms and the middles are worth just flat points, 4, 3, and 3. This up here scores based on this formula up here. So you see this one scores 2 points for every conch. So there's 2 conches in the entire aquarium. That is 4 points. This one scores for every set. So you count up how many of each you have, whatever's your smallest, that's your set. Then there are, where's the other one? There's one more. This one scores for every aquarium piece in your aquarium, including the bottom and the top. And I think that's all. You score for aquarium pieces, or you score for sets, or you score for just individual shells. So those are the different things you score. Once you are done scoring, so the highest score wins. And let's see. Tiebreaker first is the most leftover treasures. So whoever has the most leftover treasures gets or wins if there's a tie. Second tiebreaker is the most leftover seashells. And if that's still a tie, the tiebreakers share victory.
Ugh.
Or you figure out more tiebreakers if you don't like to share victories. So that is the scoring. Moving on to our final thoughts. I'll let you start it off.
I like this game. As with most KTBG games, it's a thinking game, but yet it's a fun game, and it kind of made my head hurt at some points.
I think the first time.
Yeah, because when you take your dice, let's say I take this 3 off of the board and I have to place it over here, I don't like to give anybody else any advantage.
She doesn't like positive interaction. She just wants to do.
I just want to do my stuff. So if I lay my 3, pardon me, I on the board, you can actually knock your player to the beach. So you can actually, like Ian was saying during the gameplay, you can put it on the treasure. You can then put your person over here on the beach, and then you can gain more stuff so that you can try and plan ahead, which I'm not a plan aheader. Like, it's hard for me to plan what needs to be
like,
done.
okay, if I do that, then I can do that, and I can, and if I put it there, then I can get a lot of things.
Yeah, but I'm learning. I'm getting better with that.
Sorry, our camera's flashing at us.
Uh-oh, we have a loose connection.
I don't know.
So, but I'm getting better at that. So that I'm working on, like I said. So I'm getting better with games with that kind of a purpose. I do like the aquarium pieces and having that as kind of a secondary game almost of how big almost, because you have your cards that you can fulfill, but you also have the aquarium pieces that you can build one aquarium, or you can build another aquarium.
The first game we had, I had 3 aquariums going. One of them was really big. It had a really big scoring, and you know what, I just realized I did not mention the end game scenario. So the game ends when one person gets 6 exhibits. So that is the end. So, and that triggers the end, and then everybody else gets one more turn. It doesn't matter if this was the last player in turn order. It says everybody else gets one more turn. So that is the game end. So that just so we understand it. So the aquariums don't trigger any end game. Only the exhibits do.
Yes. So the aquariums to me is almost like another game. It's kind of another kind of fun little activity to do off to the side. But I like this game. I like the components. I like the artwork. I like the thought process. I give it a thumbs up.
Yeah. I also enjoyed this one. This one was an instant hit. The worker placement with the kind of resource management sort of thing with the shells, and then trying to figure out, okay, do I want to go after an exhibit? Do I want to put stuff in my vault? Do I want to save my shells so that I can build aquariums? And then, like I said, each one of the aquariums has a different, thing that scores. So like which top are you going to go for? Because that really dictates the rest of your game. Because if I'm going for this, if I want one of these, it doesn't matter which other middles I put in my aquarium. I just need to get a lot of them. But if I'm going for this, I really have to be getting those scallop shells and those
Mm-hmm.
starfish shells, because I need to buy those because it costs this in order to buy it. And I need to buy those so that I need to buy shells like this. I need to buy middles like this that have that on there because I'm only going to score if I have those. And then I need to make sure I get a variety of them. So like looking at that is a really interesting thing. And you'll notice that if you are looking for just one thing, like how many stars or how many aquarium pieces, it's two. If you need a pair of things, it's 3 points per pair. And then that one that I needed the full set of three, it was 6 points because you need so much more. Which I was building towards. I ended up with 4 full sets in an aquarium, and that scored me 24 points the first time we played. Yeah, I really like this game. I think once you understand, the
Mm-hmm.
flow goes really, really quickly. We have a we have a problem that I think is both of us is when we play games like this where you need to have patterns,
Mm.
we need to get them in the right order. So I think it extends the game for us a little bit because we're like, oh,
Mm-hmm.
instead of just going, hey, you know what, let's just get them because you only get these bonuses if they're in the right order, and you really want those bonuses. Um,
I don't like having them out of place
yeah.
anyway.
Oh, we did not talk about all the shell powers.
Oh my goodness.
So these are simply played. So these can either be put onto a exhibit like we showed up here to score more points at the end of the game, or they can actually be used during the game to change a dice value by one, either up or down. Any one can become a six, and a six can become a one. The scallop shells, uh, if you play that on one of your exhibits, you get to take, I think I mentioned this one, you get to take an extra treasure of any kind. So it can kind of help you for the future. And then the stars do a couple different things. The stars on your player board, you can put a star on a treasure to make it a wild to help you fill these in order if you want. They also allow you, let's say you place something here and someone takes the card you're working towards, but then a card comes up that is that does allow you to that's working with what you have. The star can actually you can take off the farthest right treasure off of your map, off of your display. So, but yep, forgot about those. I wanted to make sure I mentioned those. But yeah, this game, love this game. Instant hit. It's a fairly quick setup. I think the biggest part is going to be stacking the treasure tiles. But other than that, it is going to be a pretty quick setup. It's a fun game to play. I like all the things going on, but it's not too much. And like
Mm-mm.
Stacy said, I like the cascading things. Like I'm a planner, so I'm like, okay, I see the dice that are there. I know if I take this, I can set it there. Then if I do that, I can get myself like 2 or 3 treasures, and then maybe I can bump into it and I can bump myself up and I can get the treasures and I can get the shells. So I'm always kind of thinking like, how can I maximize my turns? And I think that really helped me in the first game because Stacy was really still figuring it out and just all of that. She was just going a lot to like single things. And then when we got done playing the first time, I kind of explained to her my thought process, which I usually do on games like this after we play. And then the second time, she did much better, and she was taking cards that I was working towards too, and she ended up beating me. So, um,
I
yeah,
think the first game I just had the wrong mentality about it. I was trying to fill this side of my board before I was trying to get any cards. Oh, oops, any cards
yeah.
filled over here. Says I was thinking I was going for more points over here when in real life this side was scoring me more points in the long run.
And I
So,
think it's a balance between the two.
yeah.
Like you don't want to just completely negate the vault, but it doesn't score as much as like if you can get some 8 and 10 point cards and get some bonuses and then get some extra, aquariums. So there's a lot of different ways where it plays the score and what your strategy is, kind of goes with that. So,
Yeah.
but once again, I really like this one. This one's 2 thumbs up for me as well. We don't give 1 to 5 ratings or 1 to 10.
Mm.
Maybe
I give
At
it
some
2
point,
dice.
maybe at some point we might just to start getting some sort of different criteria, but we'll figure that out. So yeah, 2 thumbs up from each of us. And
What?
we will be live streaming this one on Wednesday.
Wednesday.
I don't know why this keeps on flashing. I think it's this. I think it's the screen. I think it's the computer for some reason.
Okay.
It's yeah. So yeah, we will be live streaming this upcoming Wednesday. If you see this when we first post this, if you see it in a later date, there's a live stream of this also um, on the channel, and so that's going to be a lot of fun. We're excited for that one. Like I said, this is a Rec Raiders. KTBG gave us this to review, and it was a hit for us. Any final thoughts before we sign off?
Go get Rec Raiders today.
Yeah. If you have any other games that have similar sort of mechanics and you think we'd like them, please let us know.
Put it down below.
Put it down in the comments. Please like as well. Oops, I don't have the... If you like this video and want to see more, please hit that subscribe button up above. And if you want to see the rest of our initial impressions, you can follow that link. Once again, this has been Where There's a Will.
There's a play.
I'm Ian.
I'm Stacey.
And we'll see you next time.
At the table.